up, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital Envy, my GH Chapter show. Let's get into it, starting with all things Nikolas Cassadine. So as I mentioned last week, Nikolas was at Jax's house and neither Jax nor Hayden were surprised, and I wasn't surprised that they weren't surprised because I thought that they were working for Nikolas this whole time, but we learned how that came to be in a series of flashbacks. One day Jax was minding his own business and Nikolas showed up at his place alive and well, basically saying the news of his death has been greatly exaggerated. He kind of mentioned that he was grabbed out of the water by someone. Maybe I missed it, I'm not sure exactly who pulled him out, maybe Hayden, not really sure. If you know, let me know in the comments. Anyway, Nikolas tells Jax about the codicil that would disinherit Valentine and give it back all to Nikolas, and he was willing to offer him the entire shipping division of Cassadine Enterprises, which I guess is a pretty sweet deal. In walks Hayden, his new partner. Obviously, Hayden wasn't thrilled that she was actually still married to Nikolas, seeing as he tried to kill her, and she can't exactly divorce a would-be dead man, so she offered to help him, mostly because she has a soft spot for Spencer. On a side note, I really hated the way that Nikolas Cassadine was written by Ron Carlivati the last couple years before he died. I mean, he suddenly became this villain, and it didn't make any sense as to why. Like, all of a sudden, he was keeping Jake Doe's identity a secret, and he was rigging the election against Felicia, and he tried to have Hayden murdered. Like, that's just not Nikolas, and it seems like they're still continuing to deal with villainous Nikolas Cassadine, which kind of annoys me a little bit. Like, I wish that they would redeem him. I know that I constantly talk about how characters shouldn't be redeemed, but Nikolas was a good guy in the first place. He was the heart of the Cassadines, the only good Cassadine, and they really ruined him. It really seems that they're going to continue to write him as a villain, and I know that with the story, it could potentially just be him being ruthless and getting back what is actually rightfully his, but I just don't want to see, you know, one scumbag Cassadine, Valentine, getting replaced by another scumbag Cassadine. Like, I want this guy to get back to who he once was. It's just, I don't know, I'm frustrated by it, you guys. Anyway, so it also turns out that Nikolas was a mysterious Cassadine that helped Cassandra escape WSB custody, also the same man that held Anna and Finn hostage, hence why I still think he's being written as the heinous villainous Cassadine. I was kind of hoping back then that it was Stefan, but it wasn't, it was Nikolas. What can you do? Anyway, so as you know, Cassandra is in jail and she calls Nikolas and blackmails him into helping her escape prison. And so he arranges something to get her into the work detail outside. By the way, I have a question as I know nothing about prison life, but is it seriously a thing that inmates that are full-blown criminals can go into a public park for work detail to plant trees? Furthermore, it's November. Why are they planting trees in November? It doesn't make any sense. Whatever, plot points. So Cassandra and Sam are out there doing work detail and Nikolas pulls up in the van in the distance and Cassandra makes her great escape by knocking the prison guard out and running. She expects that he's taking her to the airport, but Nikolas clearly has plans to kill her. Again, villainous Nikolas Cassadine. I'm not here for it. Anyway, she escapes out of the van and Nikolas couldn't catch her and she somehow ends up at Kelly's right in sight of Charlotte. So Valentine's gonna be pissed. Speaking of Valentine, Curtis was absolutely pissed to learn that Nina and Valentine were back together, and he is more determined than ever to prove that Valentine had a role in Sasha's debacle with the DNA test. So he does another DNA test, thinking that it's going to come back that she is not Nina's daughter, except it comes back that she is. So he is really confused, and he is more sure than ever that Valentine is behind this. I mean, at this point, there was no reason for a DNA test to be faked, which means that something else sinister is going on, and it has Valentine's name all over it, and he even goes to confront Sasha about it, and Sasha's just keeping her mouth shut and refusing to, you know, implicate Valentine, which is super frustrating. I don't care how, you know, nice she is, but, like, I just... You are screwing Nina over, girl. Like, instead of her ending up with a complete liar, you could help her find someone new, you know? Like someone that loves her and won't lie to her, someone that can give her another child. Like, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Sasha, I am canceling you. I will reboot you when you come back to your senses. Since we're still riding the Cassadine wave, let's talk about Alexis. Now, she is in the hospital. Finn is trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Obviously, Kendra has been poisoning her with something, and it has now caused her to lose feeling in her hand and also to lose her hair. Whatever Kendra is poisoning Alexis with killed a rat in Julian's garbage. So it's nasty. Hopefully Finn can figure it out. I mean, that's his specialty, right? Finn did seem to flinch when she mentioned that she was on this exercise powder that Kendra's been giving her, but I don't know if they'll test it. Hopefully Alexis doesn't die, because this is just nuts that Kendra is going after Alexis for a lie that Shiloh told. Speaking of Shiloh, I have a theory about Nelle, and it involves Shiloh. Now, this week we learned that Nelle was recently married in prison, and she didn't name any names, but when you put all the things that she said together, it couldn't be anyone but Shiloh. First, she mentioned that he's dead already, and that she didn't kill him. The second thing she mentioned was that he had a bad reputation, and the third thing she mentioned was that if her lawyer gets her out of there, there will be a big payoff because she potentially has hold of some big funds that she can pay him with, instead of him helping her pro bono. Now, as you guys know, Shiloh was so sure that he was going to get a hold of the ELQ stocks, and I'm thinking that Nelle thinks that she's going to get a hold of those too. I mean, Shiloh was delusional, but I don't think Nelle really knew that. She just thought he was a bit of a psychopath, which is, you know, her MO. Will it get her out of jail? Maybe, but I don't think she's going to get that payoff that she wants. Moving on, let's quickly talk about Ava. She is a mess, but she thinks she's crazier than she actually is. She's been getting visits from Scotty and Laura, and then Jax pays her a visit, and he seems to have sympathy, but she quickly discovers that he's only there because he wants to get a hold of that painting of Helena Cassadine. And while in general I really wanted Ava to help Jax and Laura take Valentine down, I can understand why she's pissed and why she won't let him play her. I mean, he really screwed her over with that article, so I'm not surprised that Ava refuses to help. But I have to say, my favorite line of that was,
"I may be crazy, but I'm not crazy!"
I laughed so hard. Maura West is just pure gold. I absolutely love that woman. She is an amazing actress. I love her to bits. I know that we're generally supposed to hate Ava, but I can't. I just love Maura West's portrayal of her so much. It's gold. It's golden, you guys. Alright, let's discuss Frank and Drew. Now, Kim convinced Franco to leave town with her after all, and Franco goes over to Elizabeth's house to say goodbye, and in a last desperate attempt to get Franco back, she pulls him into a kiss. But alas, this is not a Disney movie. Even though ABC is affiliated with Disney, life doesn't work that way in Port Charles, I guess. But he leaves, and then he goes to Scotty to say goodbye, and Scotty tries to convince him to stay by letting him know about Franco and Drew's past. And it turns out that Drew knew that he's in Franco's body, and Franco was the little boy that he lived with. But what he didn't know was that Franco was abused by Jim Harvey, and that Franco saved Drew's life. And Scott's trying to argue, are you going to throw away my son's first chance at a normal life over your second chance? And Drew scratches his head, but to be honest, I don't think he's going to let that convince him to stay in town. He's been pretty selfish this whole time, and not really sympathetic towards Elizabeth and her situation. He says he is, but he's been a jerk about it this whole time, so I don't know. Whatever happens next, happens next. I'm kind of over this story. I just want it to be over. I feel weird for saying it, but I just want Franco back and this whole sci-fi mess to be over with. Alright, last but not least, let's talk about Brad and Lucas. Now, Julie and Jerome managed to fake it so that it looks like Brad was having an affair behind Lucas's back, and he was trying to blackmail Brad into leaving town so that Lucas can live in peace with Wiley. And Brad manages to turn the tables around by recording part of his and Julian's conversation to prove that Julian actually did this. He just managed to leave out the reasons why he did it and just said that it was about something that he did for Obrecht. And this hurt Lucas pretty badly, so much so that he goes to the graveyard to visit his father that raised him, Dr. Tony Jones. Brad Mull came back to reprise the role, and oh my god, I was so thrilled to see those scenes. I mean, I loved Tony first of all, and seeing him back with Lucas was pretty great. I mean, I don't really know if Ryan Kings and Brad Mull actually interacted. I did watch when he originally played Lucas when they aged him, but I don't really recall Tony being around that much because at that point the actor was pretty much not really on the show at all. He was here and there in certain hospital scenes, but that was really it until he died. But yeah, those scenes were so beautiful and, a long time coming. And boy, he's going to need to come back when the actual truth comes out about, Wiley, and he loses both his husband and his kid at the same time. It makes me wonder where they're going to go with Lucas, because Tony went in a pretty dark phase himself when he lost Bobby and BJ. So who knows what direction Lucas will go once the shit hits the fan. But yeah, beautiful scenes, and oh my god, the scene in the hospital, him grabbing Bobby behind her and just holding her. I got emotional. My eyes were sweaty with respect. I was honestly worried that we weren't going to get a Bobby and Tony scene, but thank God that we did. Beautiful, beautiful scene right there. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to end this episode here. What did you guys think of GH? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next week.